Welcome back, ladies and gents. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. In today's analysis, we're going to be getting into the Bitcoin charts. As always, also taking a look at Ethereum and Chainlink. We're going to be changing it up a little bit today for the altcoins and taking a look at the Bitcoin pairings, as a lot of these DeFi projects, not just Ethereum and Chainlink, for example, Compound, especially here, as it is one of the ones that has been traded by one of our community members a lot recently, have been moving up quite nicely. This is exactly a signature that we saw before the move to the upside for Bitcoin, the major move to the upside back in January 2021. So could the potential same thing be happening on the charts right now, as the altcoins do start to give some of their gains back and they do start to range a little bit? Could we see Bitcoin start to move up as well? I'll be discussing this in today's video. We're going to be going through, as always, the lower time frames as well. This is going to be an extremely important update, so make sure that you stay tuned for it. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. So starting off here on the 4-hour CME chart, I want to start off with some of the recaps, of course, that we spoke about yesterday, some of the confirmations. So we did see the price action come down, fill our CME gap, and come down to the value area low of the weekly profile. So this was a very important support at around $33,220. We did see a price action bounce up quite nicely, and we had come up to our upper and lower point of control of the weekly profile, as you can see. So that was a very important region. The upper point of control, which we discussed, was around 34,820. What we wanted to see was some 4-hour closures above this region, which we did not get. We actually, in fact, did have, shortly after I uploaded the video, a move to the upside, and we did end up closing back below the high of the previous candle, giving us a confirmed swing failure pattern, and we ended up moving down quite aggressively indeed. But once again, did set in a higher low here, as you guys can see. And going on to the normal Bitcoin charts that we have, the spot price action, and getting rid of the weekly profile, we can see that we also had our bearish order block very, very close to this region. Once we had that move to the upside, that was quite close here. So the high of this candle was around $35,097, and the key resistance, the lower point of the order block here, was at 35,248. So that's very, very important, guys. But now what I want to go through with you all quickly is the 1-day time frame. And taking a look at the 1-day time frame, there hasn't been much of a change, even though we did have quite a dump yesterday. Putting on our magnet tool here, we've been discussing these higher lows that have consecutively come in on the charts here. And if we zoom out, so when you are in doubt, you want to zoom out a little bit, and right here we're seeing this channel that has been forming since the 22nd of June still play out quite nicely, giving you multiple buying opportunities at the bottom here, 21% to the upside. And as you guys can see, every move to the upside has been to that bearish order block, which will be very, very important for price action to get above. Another move to the downside to the bottom of the range on the 2nd of July. And then a move up to the median of the channel, and then also another move down, actually 2 moves down consecutively to the bottom of the range, giving you optimal buying opportunities at the bottom as well. Since it is support and since it is continuing to play out, you can of course be looking for those buying positions or wait for lower time frame resistance points to be reclaimed once we test this region before moving up. Our horizontal support, which is much more important, the key support at that we set in on the 2nd of July at 32,635, also obviously has not been broken. So that is very nice to see on the 1-day time frame. Of course, we're coming up to the bearish order block once again. This has been the one we've been trading since the 21st of June, and ultimately this is an important area. But the more times that we test this region, of course, the buys are eventually going to kind of dry up, and we are going to be seeing a potential break off this region. We've spoken about how to confirm this, so let's take a look at it quickly on the daily before we go into the 4-hour momentum, which is going to be very important. As we can see, we do have, not from this region, but we do have a rising channel, and you could be looking at that as a bearish channel, but I just look at it as a channel because I don't primarily trade patterns, right? But overall, this does confirm by the volume as well, because what we want to see is declining volume from left to right, and every single move to the upside to this bearish order block has not come with an increase in the volume. So I would like to also see an increase in volume when we do break that region, and once we test that region, because that's going to be very important to confirm that move up to the upside. So right now, declining volume since that 21st of June, and it is getting quite close to a move. I'd say, as you guys can see, probably in the next 24 hours, we should be seeing a spike in this volume, or 48 hours. Now, going on to the 4-hour time frame, the stochastic read here is very interesting, and it was very interesting to me yesterday as well, and that is the reason that I said that I was going to hold some of my long positions to the upside that you guys saw from about 33,660, I believe it was. I believe it was on this move down before moving up. You guys can go ahead and check out that video. But going on to the stochastic, every move to the upside that we have had inside of this range, okay, since the 21st of June, we've come up to the bearish order block with the stochastic at the critical zone, giving us a potential dry up by the bulls, basically, right? We have come to critical resistance for the first time with the stochastic starting to turn. And then once again, at the bottom of the channel, we're seeing the stochastic turn as well. Nice confirmation, but what we want to focus on is the tops. So the next top here at around the 29th of June, this is the one we traded to the downside, to the bottom of the range. As you can see, that was also the stochastic all the way at the critical zone before testing the bearish order block and rejecting. Once again, here on the 5th of July, we did test the bearish order block, but the stochastic was all the way up here and actually rejecting from the critical zone. But we are seeing a little bit of a different read right now. We're seeing a bounce to the upside from the critical zone and actually regaining the neutral zone on our momentum oscillator. And we are seeing price action very, very close to that critical resistance, which is the bearish order block. Now, taking a look at this, that is, of course, a good sign when we are right under resistance with the stochastic turning up and actually having a lot more room to run before turning back down. So there could be ebb and flows on the lower time frames, but ultimately right now, this is a good read. And so being able to get above that bearish order block with the momentum up and, of course, the most important volume and open interest confirming that move, then we can be looking for a test higher inside of the range. Now, where would I be looking higher inside of the range? I still do stick by the same analysis as we have really for the past few weeks as well. I would be saying that we would need to regain the major highs on the 30th of June. The 29th of June, which is this wick kind of horizontal that we've put on our charts for a while. And breaking that would also be breaking the median of the range. And I like how the top of the range right now, of course, it is going up over time, but I like how the top of the range is in confluence with the $39,848 level. So getting above the monthly pivot, where's going to be our general target? That's going to be at the R1. And this order block will need to be lost, as it is an area that has been protected by the bears, and we've had some nasty rejections, as you guys even saw yesterday, from that region. Now, putting even more importance to this order block, we don't always speak about this because, of course, we don't want to speak about the same things over and over again, but we've mentioned a few times here that if we go ahead and pull a fixed range, we can look at our VPVR, but it's always better to look at the fixed range, as it will really help you fix into a certain area in the price action, right? So I don't want to use that, but going on to the VPVR here on the fixed range, and taking a look at this, we want to pull from when we broke inside of this range on the 19th of May all the way to where we are now. And what we can see here is the EQ of the bearish order block on the lower time frames is in confluence with the range's point of control, which makes this even a more important area. Typically, when we regain the point of control here, we will have quite nice probabilities of moving to that value area high at the very least. The value area high sits around $38,000. So that would be a critical resistance point for the charts. Now, I also want to go through this with you guys on the daily very quickly before we move on to the altcoins, and taking a look at the Bollinger Bands here. And we don't usually look at this, but it is good on the higher time frames. Definitely be looking at this. Even on the lower time frames, we've got a fantastic strategy for this. If you are in the community on Discord, go ahead and check out the members website. The ADX strategy actually utilizes the Bollinger Bands here as well. But what we're seeing from the Bollinger Bands is a lot of tightening here, and this is actually very, very tight, almost getting to levels where we actually saw back in this range in the 29th of July before we had a dip to the downside, or even here back in May 2020 before we had a major move up from around $9,000 all the way to $12,000. So this basically tightening shows us that there is going to be a move coming soon, and that move will need to be obviously planned out. You want to wait for your confirmations, you want to wait for the volume confirmations, and that would be ultimately what you would be looking at here. Since we spoke about this dump to the downside, we said that we expect overall ranging price action to come in. And for the past 49 days, we have been ranging here. And I do believe that overall this will be getting ready for a move outside of this high time frame range very, very soon. Now, getting rid of this here, I want to look at kind of the move to the upside here back in January, right? January 2021. We did have a move down from the 21st of January coming down, and then around the we had a move down from the 8th of January coming down and setting the lows on the 21st and the 22nd of January, and then starting to range a little bit like we're seeing right now on the price action until the 28th of January before breaking to the upside. Once again, this was in fact a downtrend similar to what we have now. Of course, on the high time frames, it was most definitely not a downtrend, but I mean, just the structure that we were putting in here, a low, a high, a lower high, a lower low, and a lower high, but ultimately it resulted to the upside. If you guys remember, a lot of people did get bearish at these lows here. But we did end up getting some nice reads on the VIX here on the daily before moving up. So keep those dates in mind. Let's go on to Ethereum, Bitcoin. So remember when we start to move up around around the 28th of January. Now let's go on to the Ethereum, Bitcoin pairing. And I've gone ahead for Ethereum at least, and I believe put these on the charts. Let's see. Yep. So back inside of this region, we actually saw a very nice move for Ethereum. We started to see Ethereum move up on the 2nd of January here, and that was actually while Bitcoin was coming down. Remember, Bitcoin was in that kind of downtrend structure that we spoke about. Ethereum started to have a very nice move to the upside, and this is on the Bitcoin pairing. So obviously Bitcoin coming down, Ethereum going up, and I don't know what happened there, but looking at this here, 95% move to the upside. And that was ultimately stopped around, the 5th of February. But what's important here is these DeFi coins started to move up a lot, and they started to really gain momentum before Bitcoin made its push to the upside. A lot of them gave some of the gains back, but Ethereum here is doing something very similar. We've moved up. We've had a swing failure pattern of the 23rd of May, actually 2 swing failure patterns in a row. So this is your longing opportunities, as you do see a very simple and clear failure of these lows. So failing to break those lows, of course, gives you a bullish setup, and we have bounced up about 24%. And so what is important right here is that we are seeing a lot of these coins gain momentum. And so if Bitcoin is able to get above the bearish order block, and more importantly, our high time frame resistance points, which is going to be $42,000, Bitcoin is really going to be able to gain that momentum back that is much needed for upside. And so it's interesting to see that we're seeing a similar signature across the board. Going on to the Link Bitcoin, of course, Ethereum is right above the monthly pivot. I do want to quickly mention this, but it doesn't mean that we'll just shoot up from here. We're getting pretty close to resistance on the daily, so definitely watch this one. We can have another push here. It does have a little bit more in it, but eventually this will turn, at least temporarily, for a higher low. So definitely not financial advice. I'm not telling you to, buy Ethereum here. The lowest risk longs would have come in back on the 27th of June and also the 25th of June when you had a very clear bullish setup of the lows before moving up. Obviously, your stop loss would go right below here. If you were looking for a swing, you could even be looking at the S2 and, targeting that monthly pivot, which would have been a fantastic trading opportunity. Now let's move on to the Link Bitcoin pairing to see if it is also gaining momentum. So Link Bitcoin, not so much indeed in comparison to, comp, I believe, in comparison to Ethereum. But what Link Bitcoin does need to do here is get above that monthly pivot. Getting above that monthly pivot would ultimately be good. But just looking at the charts here, we have a little bit of a double bottom set in. So it's also getting a nice move to the upside. Not quite as good as the Ethereum charts, because obviously we know that Ethereum there's a lot more people buying Ethereum, and there's a lot more people trading Ethereum. There's a lot of other kind of platforms building on Ethereum and a lot of other coins building on Ethereum. But right now, we just need to get above that monthly pivot. Getting above that would gain more momentum for Link as well. So let's actually go on to comp. Why not? So the comp Bitcoin pairing, I believe that's person in our community is actually trading the comp USD. However, I'm not 100% sure on that. It's maybe the Bitcoin pairing. I don't remember fully, but we can see quite a nice bounce. So what happened here was, of course, we came down. Very similar setup to Ethereum. We had a critical low in the market that was on the 13th of April, and price action did come down to these lows. Actually swung these lows multiple times, giving you confirmed swing failure patterns. These came with hammer candles, with a bullish engulfing candle here, and now a further continuation. We know that the R3 is typically not going to break on the first go, especially on the monthly pivots here. And so we have bounced up about 111% to that R3, giving him some very nice take profit, very nice take profits here. And now we're seeing the daily stochastic turn as well. So most definitely we can go in for a higher low. You know, this has been a straight up chart for a while, so fantastic trade right there. Potentially I can find the charts that he's been sending in, because it was a very nice setup, and then we can look at it tomorrow as well. But ultimately, these coins bouncing up are a good sign. It's not the worst sign, right? So we would need to break above the $36,000 region. My next target would be that 38,000 value area high on Bitcoin, and then that $39,848 region, which is a weekly R1. And the game really is on from there. We know that our major swing highs in the market, we've discussed it in almost every single video for the past kind of 40 days, is right up here. So we're very far away from it. We're getting far ahead of ourselves. There is some amazing trading opportunities to be had on the lower time frames, but I want to focus on the high time frames more so, as we have been for the past few days, because of the fact that we are seeing a lot of things line up. We're seeing us be in a range for 40, 50 days. Therefore, expecting a move soon is definitely better on the high time frames than just getting stuck on those lower time frames, because you don't want to be shorting or longing when we are coming up to some of those high time frame resistance points. We want to wait for those confirmations. And of course, the weekly stochastic is really trying its best to cross up here. Not confirmed yet, but this next weekly close is going to be important for the bulls, because getting above the R2 is potentially going to get this confirmed cross up. Getting an open closure above the yearly R2 here is going to be good with the kind of VIX read that we're seeing right now. Multiple weeks of green VIX. We've shown you guys examples of the last time, for example, that we did see this. The major one 2 weeks in a row was back in March. So we've gotten, I don't think in the history of Bitcoin we've actually got this many. And so that's actually a good sign that a potential market bottom is getting very, very close. So that's about it from me, guys. I do apologize if this was a little bit faster paced, because I'm really drying up here towards the end of the week. I've been doing a lot of things around the house as well, trying to get everything set up during the week and also trading at the same time. So very, very tired here, but I wanted to get this content out for you. And of course, I did upload a good video for the community this morning. So go ahead and check that out, or the Savo, if you are in the Discord as well. So definitely check that out. We spoke about some of my thought process behind yesterday's trade and everything like that. So thank you guys so much. And actually, before we go, I did forget to speak about it very quickly here. The main position I've taken today, there's been multiple positions. We've taken a few shorts with the group as well. They've been all very, very good. But the main position I've taken today is, once I saw that 15-minute stochastic start to turn up, I did say in the group that it's starting to look very much like yesterday's price action, where we are seeing us basically push along resistance. So we were seeing pushes along the daily pivot here, with the stochastic giving us 1, 2, 3, 4 hits on this trend line before breaking up. So this is typically a very bullish read, at least for a scalp to the upside. This was around $34,000. I did pick up the trade around 34,300 and closing some of it at 34,794. That is because we're getting pretty close to yesterday's highs and also the bearish order block. I want to take some profits. As always, breaking above those regions, we can add to those positions. Any loss of this support, I will be looking to close it. So remember, this was the base that we tried to build before we dumped on the 6th of July, and now getting above that 7th of July highs, or as you can see here, 7th of July this morning, we did set in kind of this resistance, come back. We've actually had this on our charts for a while now, but we did come back. I did readjust it a little bit on this wick high, and we came back. We ended up breaking up, and now we've retested that region. So 34,566 is a critical short-term support to hold, and also another bullish factor on the charts that helped us with those long positions today was taking a look at this kind of formation. So we did have a dip to the downside, but we tried to set in a reaccumulation formation by the bulls, and we indeed did set that in and broke out of it. So before that breaks out, we want to kind of get in on that momentum. I don't like to trade breakouts, but I do like to try to get in on that momentum, which we did get in on the 15-minute. Really, the 15-minute offered us up two trades, two of the same trades 2 days in a row, because yesterday's trade idea was basically the same as that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will catch you in tomorrow's one.